Come on, right there. Log, lily pads. One of the issues I have is there's no sunshine. Sunshine will put them tighter to cover. They could be roaming. There's one. Get the net. Get the net. Get the net. Come on. Get him. I should have just slung him in. Yes, sir. Okay. It's not a big one, but it's a way to start. This is where it can get fun. If you get bit back there, trying to drag a fish over those logs. I did it yesterday, that 4-pounder. I drove like 4 logs.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is presented by Long John Silver's.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Jimmy Dykes, and today we're headed down to Cajun country for stop number 2 of the Citgo Bassmaster Tour events. Our first stop of the year was held in Detroit, Michigan on Lake St. Clair, and we saw DAVY HITE take home $110,000 and a solid start in that Angler of the Year race. He'll be looking to maintain or even extend his lead here on the Red River in Louisiana. Now, this event, it was held in the fall of the year. The water was high and stained, and that fast water combined with morning fog made travel treacherous at times out there on the water. Jerry McInnes, Tommy Sanders, they were having a big time down on the bayou.
Well, we are ready to go here in Shreveport on the Red River. Our top 10 anglers who will contest for the championship. In 10th place is Guy Aker from South Carolina, Jay Yellis of Texas, who's done very well here on the Red River in the past, Jeff McGee from Mississippi, former Megabucks winner, Frank Scalish from Cleveland, Ohio, Roland Martin, how about that, in 6th place, Carl Maxfield of South Carolina, Pete Glusick of New Jersey, Texas' Todd Faircloth, Davy Height, who's won a classic down here in Louisiana already, and Rick Lilligard of New Hampshire in 1st place. A good field.
Real good feeling. You hit on Davy Height. Is he going to run away with all the marbles?
I tell you, he put some distance between him and the rest of the field.
Man, he will if he has a good finish here today. He has certainly had a good start. And you know what occurs to me? We have got 10 really great fishermen getting ready to ease off in some spooky-looking Louisiana country.
It's going to be nice in a minute, though.
But it occurs to me that we've got 140 guys that are on the road home right now. Always have. You know, we eliminate down, get down to our 10. What do you say, you and I, at the end of the show, we're going to work all day here, Tommy. Yeah. We're going to watch these guys fish. We're going to listen. We're going to have conversations with them. Let's really try to figure out at the end of the day what made these 10 guys special, because they did something different. They're still here.
They certainly did. We'll see them in action all day today. We are ready to go on the Red River, the Citgo Bassmaster Tour.
Let's do it.
Cajun fiddling to set the scene here in the state of Louisiana. I guess technically we're not quite in Cajun country. We're a little north of that, but
we're close enough, aren't we, Tommy?
It's bayou country for sure. That's right. Here's Davy Height.
And all the guys we're going to look at right off the bat are obviously pretty close to the takeoff spot. We got guys running a long way here, but everybody's technique today is, for the most part, going to be shallow. And you know what, Tommy? When you're fishing shallow, you really have a lot of options. You have a number of different ways you can do it. But, boy, a crankbait is always hard to beat. And I guess it's because, man, it allows you to cover so much water so efficiently. And boy, Davy Height is going to be all over that shallow water cranking here at the beginning.
Hey, little, but they bigger than the 3 I don't have so far. this higher water may have driven them back in here a little bit further.
Season's first look at Pete Glusick. Pete from New Jersey, Franklinville, New Jersey, 34 years old, winner of the 99 Alabama Invitational out here on the tour.
Also fishing shallow. He's flipping a jig back in these lily pads and around that brush, and he has flipped it in the right place, it looks like, to begin with. This water back here is a little bit clearer than the water Davy Height was fishing at.
That's a nice one for here. Yeah, baby. Just as I was talking bad about you. Love it. Love it. You were saying something about patience? I can't remember exactly, but I thought you said something about patience.
Here's Todd Faircloth and a good look at the terrain he's fishing.
And he's throwing a crankbait, and that's what he's going to catch his first fish on. And Tommy looks like he's fishing around thorns, but
or dunce hats. Yeah.
Look at the little crevices and ditches and the humps in that timber that he is fishing. That's the most important thing that he's trying to cover. And of course, with a crankbait, he can cover it all. He can make long casts and get into those ditches and hit those humps and actually hit the timber from time to time. And Davy looks like he's a little slower right now, and he is back to flipping a tube around the same bank he was throwing a crankbait on a little earlier.
It's Davy Height's third keeper of the day. That helps him retain his lead.
I think I'm gonna probably have to have a 1 3 or 4 pound bite to win. And I think my best chance of getting that is probably with a flipping stick.
I've got an area right here where I've caught 5 fish right in this area right here, and there's another area right down there that I've caught 5 fish on that area. And I've caught 2 fish up by that old duck blind on the end there, so they're kind of all through this 100-yard stretch right here. You can see that levee coming across here where that big cottonwood tree is, runs all the way across to that levee on the back there where the other large trees are, and it's about 15 feet right here where I'm at, but where all these logs are, it's about 3 feet. So it's a real key drop all along this levee edge here.
Take a look at some of the notables. As we said earlier, a lot of the big guys are on their way home, including Clark Wendlandt, Rick Clunn. Kind of surprising to see him there. Let's take a look now at our leaderboard, the top 5 after day 1. Look at Dean Rojas, 15 pounds and 8 ounces Lilligard right in there. O.T. Fears, who's formerly won this championship. Now the day 2 leaderboard, Dean Rojas mounting a massive lead there. Dean really with 31 pounds running away from the rest of the field. But why is Dean not in the top 10 today? Well, there's an explanation for that. Dean Rojas' weight from the first 2 days has been disqualified. When that happens, of course, on day 3, it happened right before the anglers got out on the water. It doesn't take long for word to get around.
Say again? Why?
They're passing the word around that Dean Rojas is out of it. He's not the leader anymore.
You're kidding. So I have a chance. So I'm fishing for first place now? Wow.
Chuck ECONOMOU and all the anglers there on day number 3 pretty much figured that first place was out of the question. Dean Rojas had just too much weight to be overcome, but with Rojas out of the picture now, a brand new complexion on the tournament. Dean went ahead, of course, and fished on the 3rd day of the tournament with every fish he caught. Possible points toward Angler of the Year, qualifying for the Classic as well. Dean will join us later to talk about the whole thing. Meanwhile, here on day number 4, some of our anglers have yet to wet a hook.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Mercury. And by Triton.
Citgo Bassmaster Tour in swing here on the Red River in the state of Louisiana, the river that pretty much bisects the state. We're fishing south of Shreveport. You can't go north of town, but you can go a long ways south of town. Basically just a chain of lakes, lots of sloughs, lots of wonderful looking places to fish for bass in here.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, this river can really be exciting. Sometimes you can go along, not getting a bite, all of a sudden, everything turns on. I mean, it's a great place to fish. We just need to get there, we'll have it made.
10 pounds is a decent, will give me a shot. I think 12 to 15 pounds, I'll be tough to beat. and I caught 12 pounds on the second day of the tournament. If I can duplicate that weight today, I'll really give them a run. That's just what I'm guessing. Oh, that was one of the ones you lost. Got buried right up on a pad. But good news is I got another bite.
Of course, he's disappointed, but in pads that thick, you have to expect that, you know, once in a while.
And he does. He's missed a few fish every day, so he does expect it, but it doesn't make it any easier. Now, Davy HITE is doing pretty good, but he needs some bigger fish.
That's 4 that weigh 3 pounds total, not 4 3-pounders.
And I tell you what the difference between Davy HITE and your average angler is. He kind of found these fish on these wing dams by accident, but when he found them, he knew exactly what he had. And that sounds silly, but a lot of guys don't know. And he recognized it and knew exactly what it took to catch them.
That's all right. Everything's just going along just fine.
Well, Davy HITE is making a serious run at back-to-back tour event wins. That would give him a big lead in that Angler of the Year race. However, back-to-back wins don't always ensure that Angler of the Year title. In the past 33 years, only 10 pro bass fishermen had back-to-back tournament wins, and only 3 of those 10 were able to parlay that momentum into winning that coveted crown. 2 guys did it twice. Bill Dance, he did it in 1968 and 1970, and Roland Martin rolled through back-to-backs in 1973 and 1981. Gary Klein was the last to accomplish this. He did it back in 1989. Since then, only 5 anglers have won consecutive tournaments, but none of them were able to advance to win the Angler of the Year. We'll have to wait and see what happens here on the Red River and HITE's bid at back-to-back tournament titles.
You know, we have to check in with Roland Martin, and Roland is not in the place where he wants to be. When a time came for him to go through the lock this morning, a boat slipped in there that had a restricted cargo. Only that boat could go through. The result of that snafu, he's stuck with small fish.
Filth and foul, filth and foul. Oh, man. I put the wood on that fish. That was a rare fish. I mean, that fish just jumped and got off. I mean, I had a lot of line out. Oh, man. They're giving me the chance. I've had 2 bites through here. Missed them both. I need to growl a little bit more.
Growling's probably appropriate at this point. He's got to start landing some of those big ones.
Hey, when the cameras went down, Tommy, he was actually crying.
Now that's not right.
Yeah, I
he
think
did not either.
It is the truth, though. He's got to be. Gosh, these guys aren't running into that many big fish, so they really need to take advantage of those good ones.
Well, once again, there was a man who really wore those fish out over the first 2 days of competition, and he's not there today. Jimmy Dykes is standing by with him.
Well, I talked about him earlier, and here he is, Dean Rojas, and he's the guy that after the first 2 days of the tournament fishing on the Red River, he had 31 pounds in the bag, and then to start day 3, you have 0 on the official board. What happened?
Well, apparently I was fishing in an off-limits area that bass deemed off-limits, and whenever you do that, there was a rule infraction, and I didn't find out till that night when I was going through the sheet to look at where my flight was, and I just happened to read the off-limits, and specifically talked about that spot, and you know, it was a mistake on my part. I did not read that particular paragraph. I made a mistake, you know, and paid the consequences for it. But you know, the bad thing about it was I caught most of the fish on the legal side. You know, I'd catch 2 or 3 on this side, and then after I'd have those, I'd cast the other side and bring it through the whole Tronas, because it was easier for me to catch them on this side. I didn't have to bring them through all the rebarb and the posts and all the rock and so forth. So it was easier to land the fish. And man, I catch them in 45 minutes, Jimmy. You know, and it was just so easy. Yeah, oh, it was done. You know, and that old saying, easy come, easy go.
But the fish are holding right there at those 3 or 4 trees right in that corner. So I may, like I said, I may have to throw something a little different in there and see if I can catch them. But what they really want is this little crankbait.
We'll look now at a contour map of Carl Maxfield's spot there. He's finally made it to this place downstream through the lock, and as a result of the long trip, he's got half as much time to fish as everyone else.
And he's throwing a small crankbait. And Tommy, I want to say one more thing about Dean Rojas, who will be with Jimmy some more here today. And I know a lot of the folks and a lot of the anglers were just a little skeptical about that whole situation, but I think he handled it pretty good. And Tommy, he's a pretty classy angler.
1 down and 4 to go. Okay. That's my 4th one. That's my 4th one. Just barely a keeper. And, hey, Tommy.
Hey, Roland, you think that one's going to keep?
Yeah, I think so. Let me check it on my board. I just caught one on my partner's bait. Now, what was kind of funny, I brought my partner in here yesterday. Oh, yeah, he's 13 inches. And he caught 9.5 pounds on this very same plug that I'm using. And it had been hitting Carolina rigs out in this little hole. But for some reason yesterday, they got to hitting that little Spin Scout. And I just got into position. I just really caught the first fish. Right about where the boat's sitting now, he caught one of his big fish, almost 3 pounds. And so I'm just going to work this area over for about an hour or so and try to get my limit. And
So you talked him out of his lure, Roland?
Yeah, well, he's not.
Boy.
Well, he didn't need it as bad as you did today.
Well, he's not fishing today, so.
Yeah. There's where my partner caught a 4-pounder yesterday. I threw a crankbait by it, and he flipped right there. Oh, got him. I need help.
Well, all these guys, Davy, HITE, Pete, Glusick, they seem like good sports about it, and they are really good sports about it, but you know, deep inside, it's killing them to miss fish like that.
I need to growl a little bit more.
Welcome back with Dean Rojas. We're going to locate where our anglers are on this water right now. And Dean, they primarily concentrated on 2 different pools, staying between a couple of different locks.
Sure. We got Roland Martin and Carl Maxfield making the big run, going way down south. Roland Martin fishing Lake Sullivan down there. Carl making an hour run from the lock, fishing an oxbow back there that he's got some fish located. He looks pretty good.
Okay.
We got Davy HITE and Rick Lilligard fishing pretty close to the ramp. Davy's right next to the lock. Lilligard's in an oxbow. I like both their chances. A lot of fish in the area. Todd Faircloth, man, what else can you say? He's fishing straight across from the ramp. There's a lot of fish in the area. Clark's has a high percentage of fish in the area because of all the tournaments that are out there. So I like his chances. Pete Glusick is up here where I was at in the first 3 days of the competition. Pete's fishing an oxbow that I was fishing, but I was fishing an oxbow that was feeding into the oxbow that Pete was fishing. And the people in Louisiana call it a trenasse, where the water's actually coming out of there and filtering into another oxbow. And I was fishing fishing that trenasse, fishing the current as it was coming out of the lake. And there's some standing timber in the area, some rock. Glusick was around some lily pads, and there was a few other anglers. But the neat thing about it is, most of the anglers were running down south. Yeah. So we had this all to ourselves, and I like Pete's chances in this
kind of a natural fish attractor going on up there for him. Let's look at this lock that we're talking about. That's primarily comes into play for Davy HITE. Right there you see the lock, and then right there's the launch ramp. He didn't go too far south. Why do you think Davy HITE chose that spot of the water and stayed right there close to that lock area?
Well, for 2 reasons. Again, once there's a lot of fish in the area, you know, with all the tournaments being held, and 2 is the current. Every time that lock opens up, they have a huge influx of water going through, and every time that lock opens up, you have current. A lot of times those fish are triggered by the current and will eat as soon as the water starts moving. They know it's triggered, there's going to be food moving around, and it'll be easy pickings.
Boy, HITE loves easy pickings, too. And a contour look at his little spot here shows you why a fish should live here, and he's trying to cover every bit of it with a Bagley B crankbait.
Oh, skinny. You been on Weight Watchers. But you bigger than one little fella got in here.
Nice. Now we're going. Well, the biggest reason I ran 56 miles was to get away from most of the crowd, which, as you can see by looking around, it is not crowded at all. Matter of fact, it's deserted. We're the only people in here, except we got one boat over there that followed us down. And another reason was this pool is known to have some bigger fish in it, which is what I was gambling on. There we go. That's right where I caught him the other day and he came off. One more bite, just like that.
Well, Carl Maxfield has to be in kind of a hurry today. He's got a lot of travel time. Davy Hyde, on the other hand, has got leisure time on his hands.
Well, you know, Carl has a lot of confidence in that place way down the river, and like the guys always say, they would rather fish in a spot that they think is full of fish for 1 hour than a spot that's not very good. Boy, Davy Hyde's in a good spot, isn't he?
Absolutely.
That'll help. Baby! Nice. That'll definitely help the cause there.
Right there, a good one for Davy Hyde, not the Weight Watchers fish he was talking about a little bit earlier. That one's got a little meat on him there. Davy Hyde looking pretty good at this point, 35 pounds and 8 ounces. His 4-day total, he still has the lead.
And do you notice how confident he's fishing? And you know, it's just almost like through the camera we can see how relaxed and how much fun he's having. He really is on a roll right now.
Boy, I got a bunch of little fish. I know that. That one just helped me by a bunch.
I've been really anxious to ask Rick Lilligard when he heard about the Dean Rojas incident, when he heard that Dean Rojas had lost his first 2 days. Wait, where were you? Was it after yesterday, the 3rd day's fishing?
I heard a rumor out on the water. Somebody came by and said that he had been disqualified.
How did you feel?
I was kind of shocked. I didn't know what was up with that, but, you know, until I heard officially, I didn't pay much attention to it. I was trying to concentrate on my own fishing, but someone was just passing through and had mentioned it to me.
Your fishing has kind of been up and down the last 2-3 days, hasn't it?
They bite every other day.
Uh-oh. No. Are you concentrating on the same place, Rick, or are you moving around, or is it just one batch of fish that you seem to be...
Jerry, I had to abandon my my spot that I've caught all the fish on a tournament that, you know, got me where I am right now. They're pulling some water over the kind of the levee that I was fishing there. It's about 2 feet of water, and the water's pulling over and just drawing running mud over it. So I had just kind of left it.
So how many other places do you have? I mean,
I don't have any other places.
No other places, so you're sort of prospecting right now.
I'm searching right now. I'm going over here to a spot where I caught a small fish in practice.
Now, what do you look for when you're fishing a river environment like this, when you're forced to go out and prospect right in the middle of the action like you are today?
Well, I'm just trying to stay where there's a little bit of depth. That's the way I was catching them out on the levee out there. It was 6 to 8 feet, and I'm in a little clearer water now, so I'm trying to stay in 8 to 10 now. It may be a mistake, but I'm just going to fish some of these down logs, so I'm trying to concentrate on horizontal or leaning logs and, you know, put a bait beside them, and hopefully I can get a bite or two between now and time to go in.
Yesterday, I think I got to have that 1 3 or 4 pound bite and catch it to win probably, but we got a lot of time. The positive part about me having the little ones is that one like this, if I get him in, will help me a bunch. I'm gonna net this little fella. See there? Now that'll help me a pound. Baby!
Well, we've been talking a lot here today about Hyte and Maxfield, but remember now, we got some heavyweights, Guy Eaker, Jeff McGee, Jay Yellis, who started kind of down the list at the beginning of the day, but they could still surprise us.
Now we're making gravy.
And Carl has just made a Jimmy Dykes cast.
About that little miscue.
Yeah, hey, there's Jimmy right now, riding in style, reading his Bassmaster magazine. He's got it going on.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of the Citgo Bassmasters Tour is brought to you by Kumo, by Lowrance, and by Bass Pro Shops.
Citgo Bassmaster Tour on the Red River, where we are searching for large fish, occasionally finding them, but for the most part, not landing them.
Got him. I need help.
Oh, I felt like a strike. It was a tree. There we go.
Filth and foul, filth and foul. Need to growl a little bit more. That's just one of those freak things.
Okay, let's highlight Glusik's spot right now, and the satellite shows us the present river channel, and here's the old channel, and we also see peachy yellow track inside of what ends up being a perfect oxbow. Now, the lily pads, they're going to grow up there in the shallow water where he spends all of his time, and he moves around a lot in the area, but never out of it.
Need some water.
Now, remember FAIRCLOTH's spot? It was pretty flat back there in the timber. Well, Glusik's is also flat, but in both images you see shallow ditches and slight humps. Remember, shallow water next to any kind of depth is what you're looking for.
Oh, it's a good fish. Yeah, Daddy. That one's getting good. Yep, that might push 3. I'm going to call them 3 because it makes me feel better to call them 3. But I'm going to call them in the box is what I'm going to call them. Oh, man. Yeah, baby. I thought he turned sideways. I thought that fish was going to be 5 or 6 pounds. I just saw him, and I could see the water. Water's real clear back in here. I could see him turn and run for them pads. I'm like, oh, man, that's a 6, 7 pounder. There's no way I'm going to be able to manage that fish. I hit that trolling motor on high, ran this Ranger right into that sticks and muck, and we got him. Yeah. Just when you're about to give up on plan A, it goes and does something silly, like put a 3 pounder in the boat. 2.5, 3.
Back over to Todd Faircloth from Lake Sam Rayburn area in Jasper, Texas. He's got a limit now, but it's a small one.
Todd's been throwing a little bitty crankbait all day long, catching real small fish. He is finally flipping jigs kind of like Pete's doing.
It's probably what I should have been doing all day.
Are you getting to have some fun today, Pete?
I'm having lots of fun. Little frustrating, some of the things going on today, but it's a beautiful day.
What things are frustrating you?
Well, you know, I've been hampered by this all week. I've been losing fish. I've been losing anywhere from 3 to 5 fish a day, and already today I've lost 2. And you know, that was during the you know, the activity period, which, you know, usually happens sometime before 9 o'clock.
Why are you losing them?
I'm fishing in some heavy-duty cover. It's heavy lily pad stalks that are dead and drying and getting real tough, and they're mixed in a bunch of trees, and it's just real gnarly cover. And you know, when you get a fish on, if you can't get his head up and you can't get him out of the water quick, you know, you're really rolling the dice. And you know, I've been losing a significant percentage of my bites, and you know, really have no fault of my own, just as a result of the type of cover that I'm fishing. I think I'm doing a real good job with the fish. It's just so difficult to get them up and out.
Pete, would you describe yourself as a self-taught fisherman, or did you have a sort of a guru or a real important teacher when you were gaining your skills to become a pro?
Well, I had a real important teacher. I fished the BASS Federation program. That's how I got started in this, and I joined a club when I was, I guess, about 20 years old. And one of the second club that I joined was a small club, a guy named Rich Schneider. Right now, he's been to the Federation National Tournament a couple times, and he's been competitive for about 20 years, but he was basically my mentor. He taught me how to win tournaments. I was always an avid fisherman. My dad took me when I was 4 years old, and me and Dad and my brother, we loved fishing. But, you know, what Rich taught me was how to win, how to pattern bass, you know, how to catch them under tough conditions, how to, you know, how to do all the various techniques. And, you know, I was able to learn from him very rapidly, fortunately for me, because I just love the sport. And when you love something, you learn quick.
Congratulations on all your success this week.
Well, thanks. It feels good.
And Pete, we've stalled for as long as we can. If you're not going to catch one, we have to go to somebody else.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to go to another spot because I don't think this one's putting out either.
Meanwhile, our leader, Davey HITE, on a quest to be a back-to-back winner on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour.
And a lot of this water is still murky, but HITE's is perfect crankbait water. Just a little bit off color.
You're too cool for school, Bowman.
Once again, we can't cover everyone in the top 10 today, but from what we can tell, Davey HITE is kind of separating himself from the crowd. It's kind of misleading to see FAIRCLOTH there in second place. Really, we should focus on Glusek. He's behind with just 2 fish in the boat, so he's getting bigger fish. Now, Roland Martin never seemed to settle in one place today.
Might be headed back early. I shouldn't have. I really should have stayed in there. After it got late as it did, even though I caught those 3 little ones, and I hope I don't have to keep any of those. I hope I can throw all those back. They're just barely keepers. They don't weigh a pound apiece. But I know there's some big ones in there. All in there.
Good Lord. That was a damn big one. Did you see that? Look at that open hole where he hit it.
Well, Carl Maxfield, a long way from home and not much time to fish left, is now fishing up on top with a scum frog.
Got that one. Good fish, too.
And check out the scum that Carl's thrown over. And that's about the only lure you can throw in there.
Bass. All right. Things have changed. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Things have changed. Whew. Found me a little hot stretch.
That helps a little bit. That's what it's all about. Now, if I catch another one like this, maybe I can place in the money pretty good. That's my 5th fish, and about 3.5 pounds. Okay.
Well, my little deal back in the trees has changed. Either I caught them all or something changed. The wind definitely changed. It's not blowing back in the creek like it was. So I moved back here on this real shallow flat. And I'm throwing a scum frog on a heavy action rod and 25-pound test line trying to get them out of that stuff. There's some big ones in here, but I'm down to about 45 minutes to fish. Got him. Stay on. Stay on. Come out of that scum fish. Come out of that scum fish. Yes. That's great. Whew. Had to work on that one. Not as big as I thought he was, but he's bigger than what I got in here.
Hope everybody is noticing that Davy is throwing parallel to all these dikes. He is not sitting way out from the bank throwing to it. He's throwing right straight down it, keeping his bait in the strike area the majority of the time.
HITE we have as the leader now with 38+ pounds. Carl Maxfield's got the frog working. He's moved into second place. Now, Rick Lilligard, who had the lead coming into today, really having his troubles today, sort of dropped off that top 5.
Hey, we said at the top we were going to find out why these guys were special. I think HITE has been special because of his lure presentation. Anybody can throw them. Presenting them correctly is the thing.
That was about a 20th cast to that thing. Thank you. Woo! That ain't ain't a 4-pounder, but it sure helps the home team.
Jerry, we went out yesterday to watch Davy hide a little bit, and we rolled up where he was fishing. He had about 1 fish at the time, and in 15 minutes, he put 4 fish in the boat right in front of us. Wow. I guess all you need is an audience, right, Davy?
Exactly. Y'all brought me some good luck.
Hey, Davy, you're pretty hot, aren't you, man?
It's going great. It really is.
Here's what I want to know about. Natalie, Davy's wife, dreamed that he would win this tournament. I want to know all about that, Davy.
Well, I didn't catch a fish the first day of practice, and I came in from practice, and she told me, I dreamed you won 2 in a row. And I said, you've been drinking or eating mushroom soup or tea, whatever that is, hallucinates. Because I said, I don't have a prayer. And then I was doing pretty good in the tournament, and she said, well, you're gonna make my dream come true. And I said, no, nobody's gonna catch Dean. So, it's kind of, I got an opportunity now. It's the last day and second place going into today. So just got to try to catch a quality fish. I got a limit, but I just need a good fish.
Tell us a little bit about that technique you've had. And you've done this all week long, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I'm basically throwing a small crankbait along these rocks and, the dikes, a little bit of wood mixed in. I'm flipping a tube, a gambler tube, of black and red, and also white with black flake. And really just, I've caught the same weight every day, but I've learned more and more about how to fish these couple stretches that I've got as I've had a little more time on them. And there's certain key little places that if you keep putting the bait in front of the fish, and then you'll get a bite every once in a while.
Davey, I know it's sometimes impossible, but especially places like where you're fishing, it's important to not have too much pressure on that spot, which means you sort of have to watch who else is coming in there. And what can you do? I mean, what can you do when a lot of people want to fish that same stretch? What do you do?
Well, it's the first day of the tournament, everything's fair game, and basically even the second day. And you have to kind of be a little sneaky and not let people see you catch a good stringer, be on a stretch. I know the second day.
How do you do that? How do you make that happen?
Well, the second day I fished here all during the day, and nobody was ever around. And I knew the lock time when the guys were going to be coming through the locks, and I knew a lot of people would pass by, and I knew a lot of people would, just stop on their way in. So I disappeared once the guys came around, and then the third morning I did the same thing. And, you just have to do little things like that. This is a big river and anybody can fish anywhere, and I can't claim, half the river. But once the days move along in a tournament in third and fourth day, then basically everybody kind of has established their area and people respect it.
All right. Well, I tell you what, Davey, I'm not one for wanting to cause trouble, but after Sanders saw you catch all them fish yesterday, he made maps, and I saw him up here last night handing them out to all the anglers. Now, I don't know if that...
No, that was somebody else's.
I need some positive vibes, some big fish catching, positive movement.
Showtime, guys. Pack it up. Let's go.
Now, that's a shame. Carl Maxfield having to end his day. He was just getting things going, but now he's got the long boat ride home. That's what's made his performance special today, though, the fact that he took that chance.
Change of gears here, Tommy. We're going to take a fisheye view of a buzzbait. And a buzzbait is the ultimate lure for attracting a fish with both the sight and the sound. And it has a blade that is really constructed in such a way that it almost glides across the surface of the water. And here's a lure that you can throw in shallow water, primarily, and around as much trash as you can possibly get it in, and it will not hang up. Why are we talking about a buzzbait? Because Pete Glusick is now throwing one.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Buzzbait. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. Come on. Did you see him crush that thing? They could hear him back at the weigh-in, I'm sure. They're talking about it right now.
Well, that one goes into the Hall of Fame of all-time greatest grabs. Caught on tape, Pete Glusick, bringing us some excitement on a day when we've had plenty of it, a lot of it due to this guy right here, Davey HITE.
Boy, I'll take them any way I can get them.
I think both he and Pete, Tommy, they're hogging all the highlights.
Well, they are the highlight men.
Oh, when it's your day to catch one like that, it's your day to catch one like that.
We're going to take a look right now where Davy Hyde is spending a lot of his time during this tournament. He's concentrating in an area that's really not too far from that launch site. There's the launch ramp right there, and he's got some long extended dike areas to work with right here. He can even move down the river a little bit, and he's got some wing dams over here that might be holding some big fish. And that's the primary area right now where Davy Hyde's concentrating on. What's going on in this picture? Tell us.
Well, this is a satellite photo of the area that Davy's fishing, and all the anglers in the area are fishing. And you can see the white lines of where the dikes and the wing dams
right in here
are located.
Okay.
And that's where he's basically fishing. Is fishing those wing dams and dikes. Again, it's real close to Clark's Marina, so you're going to have a lot of fish in the area, high population, and just a matter of them fish when they're ready to feed, they're ready to eat. Now here we have a 3D photograph of the dike. You can see it down here, and then we have one of the wing dams coming off the side right here.
Okay, so we got the dike right here.
Correct.
It's obviously going to hold a lot of fish, and you're thinking maybe some big one could be over here off these wing dam areas.
Right, and you can see where the whole dark area. That's the deep water there. That's
how deep are we talking about?
It can anywhere from 5 to 18 feet deep, depending on how much they actually dredged and broke out of there. And each one of those wing dams can have 5 to 8 feet of water on each side of them.
Yeah, I have had baits on. Oh, that's a good one. Get back. Woo! Yes! Oh, man. Hadn't had a bite like that all week, and I was just talking about it. Mwah! Man, I got a chance now. That's all you can ask for. Woo!
What does he mean he's got a chance? Is he looking at the same scoreboard we are? Hey, our flashback today goes to Pete Lucy.
Must be 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Today's flashback has been brought to you by Citgo.
That's fun there, boy. Man. I dance at weigh-in. I can't dance yet. I gotta keep fishing. Get my neck loosened up. Hop on in here with us, boy.
This week's Fish Eye View has been brought to you by Long John Silver's. The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Long John Silver's. By Flowmaster. And by Yamaha.
You know, I've stuck with my game plan, got, you know, the most weight I've had yet. You know, we're fixing to find out if it's enough. I don't think it's going to quite be enough, but I hope it is.
Well, with our weigh-in coming up, let's take a look at places number 6 through 10, including Roland Martin, who had really high hopes for today. Rick Lilligard came into today in first place, dropped all the way down to 10th place. And Todd Faircloth, a young man of whom much is expected out here, finished 3rd today.
I fished here for the last 4 or 5 years, been coming down here, and I've always done pretty well here. I caught a limit pretty quick, but the problem was there was a bunch of other people in my area.
Guy Akers got a lot of fans, and he did him proud today, moving from 10th place to 2nd.
You know, I found a bunch of fish in a hole back in one of the creeks up here. I had 2 places that had a lot of fish. I was catching 3 limits of fish a day, and I really didn't want to stay on this place because you can wear them out, but there's a lot of people around me, and I knew if I moved off of them, they was going to move in.
And Davy Hyte rock solid all day long, achieving something rare and wonderful, back-to-back wins on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour.
I went fishing this week, and I didn't have a clue that I had an opportunity to try to win this tournament, and I just kind of adjusted with things. You do a lot of soul searching when you I've been very fortunate, had a lot of success early in my career, and then I had that down year, and then you have to sit down and think about what went wrong, what changed, and one of the things that had changed in me is I wasn't really listening to my instincts and doing what I felt like I needed to do.
Two-time back-to-back Citgo Bassmaster Tour champion, Davy HITE.
What a championship for Davy, a dream come true. Literally another look at our top 5. HITE, our champion, followed by Acre and Faircloth. Carl Maxfield came in 4th. Pete Glusick is 5th. That's going to wrap things up from Shreveport and the Red River.
There you have it. Davy HITE of Prosperity, South Carolina is certainly feeling prosperous today after carting away $220,000 in prize money in his last 2 tournaments. He's the bass boss on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail, and these consecutive wins give him a 28-point lead over Jay Yellis, and there's a familiar name hanging in down there at number 6, Roland Martin. Now, he's a guy that can surely relate to HITE's back-to-back wins. He's done it himself. In fact, he won 3 in a row back in 1981, and Dean Rojas, you've been in the spot that Davy HITE's in right now. Feeling like Fisher down there taking numbers, taking turns, jumping in the boat probably. Positive, could be a negative. What do you think?
Oh, it's positive all the way, Jimmy. You know, he's got things going for him right now that he feels he can go out and win every single tournament that he participates in. And to be honest with you, I'd rather be in his position right now. He's in great shape to win Angler of the Year, and I wish him all the best.
Hey, I want to thank you for being here. Wish you good luck the rest of the way. And Davy HITE, you had a big time down on the bayou. Great job, buddy. Way to go.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.